gonna do, fiat dollar, or crypto bull god and his crypto maniacs and the entire cryptocurrency market run wild on you.
Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and in today's video, the family. This video is dedicated to my family who is in the market, and this family will be the cream of the crop, and we will be rising to the absolute top. Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is recorded on Wednesday, airing on Wednesday, October 20th, 2021, Crypto Bull God Podcast. You can find me on Twitter, TradingView, YouTube, and Instagram at Crypto Bull God. You can find my brother, Crypto Bringer, and myself on our newer podcast here, CryptoBroz, link in the description. Check that out. We have very educational content. If you're not subscribed, I strongly encourage you to get engaged and subscribe to that channel. I expect very big things out of that channel moving forward. So subscribe if you are not doing that today. So I was actually away this weekend. I was in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was pretty cool because I had an opportunity to go back to a location that I haven't been to in over 6 years. I visited in Braselton, Georgia. For anyone who's familiar, a very famous winery and resort. It's Chateau Elan. Beautiful location. And the reason I was there over 6 years ago, more on that to come in terms of video footage that I'll share with everyone in an epic video that I'm actually in the midst of creating that won't be released until a little while. But I actually had my FSA ceremony there. So when I obtained my credentials as a fellow of the Society of Actuaries, as a credentialed actuary, they did a really nice job. They set us up at Chateau Elan. I had a hell of a time. I have some video footage from that I'll share. And for the most epic acceptance of an FSA diploma ever. No one will ever outdo that, what I did. So it was cool to go back there. So I was with the Crypto Bull Goddess, and we spent a huge chunk of time there. It was a great trip. Did want to give a real shout out there, real good shout out there to staying in Midtown, and in particular staying at the Hilton in Midtown. Dear Lord, I can't take credit for this one. I was told by an unnamed source that when I booked a hotel, I should stay in Midtown. Yes, Midtown. Midtown is an area of Atlanta that's a little sketchy. It's right in that downtown area. And so the Hilton in Atlanta, and the Crypto Bull Goddess meant to tell me I think it was Buckhead. There's an area adjacent to Midtown. She meant that for me to book a hotel. So we should have been staying in Buckhead. I think it's Buckhead. I think I'm remembering this correctly, right? If you're listening, I think that's the name. But we stayed in Midtown. It's fine. We had an awesome time. But the funny story about staying in Midtown was about the hotel. So the hotel got off to a great start. This is the Hilton in Midtown. The hotel got off to a great start because when I walked into the room, not only did it smell of smoke, but the smoke alarm was covered up with a plastic bag. I was way too tired the first night, fell asleep, got in late, But we changed rooms the following day. Not only, there were other things with the room as well that I won't go into, but the other very prominent thing that we were joking about the entire trip was it was a new discovery. It was like, where will we smell it next? The smell of pot. I'm not a fan of the smell of pot. Don't like the smell. I think it smells disgusting. And so whether it was in the hotel lobby, whether it was in or at least the hallways, whether it was in the parking garage, Yeah, there were 3 occasions where we smelled a very strong scent of marijuana. That's the first time in my time that I've ever stayed in a hotel where that happened. And the hotel, we were very anxious to check out the day we checked out. But besides that, incredible trip. Had an awesome trip this weekend. It was nice to get away for a little bit. The other funny story I'll share with you, if you're not following me on Instagram at CryptoBroz, you may want to check me out on there. I'm going to be posting at some point this week when I can find time a funny video. There was a staff member I met there, real nice guy, and I took a funny video with him, and basically in the video he describes what I run into every single time that I try out a new gym, and it's very funny. So check me out on Instagram at CryptoBroz for that, but I'll have something on there hopefully this week. I have to edit the video and get it on there. So what day did I get back? I got back on Monday night, and it was sad to leave the CryptoBroz, but I will be traveling back to northern Florida where she's at on Sunday. So, but in any event, I got back Monday night, and it was nice to be back in the area and kind of get back into my old routine here and get a lot of things done actually that I need to get done this week. One of which, by the way, I'm real excited about. I bought a brand new laptop. So the times I do travel or I'm going to northern Florida or wherever I might be, I'll be in a much better situation, much better setup, such that I can still record material and get it out there, whether it's a TA video or whether it's a podcast with my brother on CryptoBroz or a podcast here, CBG podcast. I'll still be able to get out material. So I'm really excited to set up my laptop and get that thing situated. But, getting back into the routine today, and today's Wednesday, so it was yesterday. But in any event, I know that everyone, at least most people, can relate to me on this. So when driving into the gym this morning, I literally must have hit every single fucking traffic light. It turned red. Like every single light turned red. And depending on what your commute's like, thank God I don't have to commute to work anymore, but depending what your drive is like, where you're going somewhere, like every morning, I go to the gym. So it's a regular route that I take. And the differential in time that it takes to get to the gym and come back, not only is it dependent upon traffic, but it's also contingent upon those traffic lights. There's days where I hit those lights and it's all green and I'm getting there in 8 minutes. I'll get there in record time, 8 minutes. But when I'm hitting every single light and it's turning red, it's 15, 16, 17, 18 minutes to get to the freaking gym. And it was just so frustrating this morning. The other thing that happened on the road that I'm sure you can relate with, some douchebag that I was driving behind, so this was a 3-lane street, right? And I'm in the middle lane. And the person I was driving behind, they were driving really slow. Speed limit's 45 and we're doing 35. So, I put on the old right-hand turn signal, which, nobody does in Florida. I put on the turn signal, got into the right lane, and went to pass this person. As soon as I got in the fucking lane, this douchebag starts to speed up. So I'm starting to speed up to pass him, and they start to speed up. And I'm like, you know what? It's too early. I'm not playing this game. I don't know why you feel like you now need to speed up so I can't pass you, because apparently you wanted to drive under the speed limit and now you just can't grasp the concept that I want to get in front of you if you're going to do that. So I pumped the brakes. I got back into the middle lane and this douchebag slowed down then. And I was, I just backed off and just said, I just don't need this at 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it was this morning. I don't know what time it was. It was around 7 o'clock. So I don't know if you can relate to that, but I don't know why people do that. Have you ever done that? If you've ever done that, unsubscribe to this channel. If you've ever done that, just unsubscribe to this channel because I can't stand you. Let's get into crypto. We spent about 10 minutes talking about non-crypto related things. Let's get into the cryptocurrency market, starting off with Bitcoin like we usually do. Man, every time I record these podcasts, this is a beautiful time of the year. Every time I record these podcasts now, Bitcoin's hitting a new high. I feel like it was just yesterday that when I was giving you a Bitcoin update, we were talking about the beginning of a higher high and higher low, and we were at like 43,000 or something. Cripes were all the way up at $66,000. So I don't know. I put charts out all the time on trading or on Twitter from TradingView. If you're not following me on Twitter at CryptoBroz, you should do so. We've literally had a straight line up from, like $40,000 all the way up to $67,000 today. We did create a new all-time high. Do keep in mind, as we continue this bullish structure, that I've spoken quite a bit to the rule of sevens. If you are unfamiliar with this concept, go back and listen to some of the old material. But, once we hit $70,000, I think it's pretty much a done deal. That we're going to be hitting $100,000. It's just a matter of timing. If I had to give you my best educated guess on when Bitcoin will specifically hit $100,000, I'd say November. But if you've been following me and paying close attention, I think the blow-off euphoric top that we will see this year in Bitcoin will be substantially higher than $100,000. And again, it isn't that the price is going to go to the level that I've signaled to everyone. It's not that it's going to go to that level and stay there. It's called a blow-off top for a reason. It's going to hit that top, and it's going to be very volatile and then come down 10, 20, 30%, and then start bouncing around. And we'll enter another bear market. So I think the prices I've communicated, I feel like I've communicated different ranges, but the ultimate top I see has been consistent in what I've stated. So I've stated a range of 150,000 to 250,000. I lean more towards 250,000, but again, there's so much variability here. This is such a risk-on asset that has a high degree of volatility. The entire market has a high degree of volatility. So, if you're following people that are giving specific price targets, because I've seen some of this bullshit where people are tweeting out that, XRP's hitting, $9.33. I mean, if someone's that precise with a price projection, you really need to start asking yourself some questions in terms of how they're coming up with those targets, because that's bullshit. Whenever there's a high degree of variability or volatility, you want to use nice round figures. You also want to create a range for yourself, because what you recognize if you have any degree of logic within mathematics or data science and working with numbers a lot is you understand where there's a high degree of volatility. The best thing you can do is not only round numbers to a nice round figure so that you're not suggesting you're more precise than what your number might suggest, but you also provide a range. The range accounts for variability and volatility. So in this case, I'm signaling a range of $150,000 to $250,000. Okay, that accounts for a lot of volatility. But in terms of where I think the ultimate blow-off top, and you'll see a price wick go up to, I think it's going to be much closer to $250,000. And yes, I do see that happening this year. One of the things I tweeted about today is I indicated that listening to these podcasts from here until the year end, I feel confident that the material that I can put out in these podcasts should help to level set your emotions. I do put out a lot of high energy, what I consider to be funny content at times. But when it comes down to it, if you're paying close attention, is whether it's the technical analysis videos I put out or the podcasts I put out, all of which will be being put out on a much more frequent basis in the not too long distance of a future from now. More to come on that. I keep saying that. But based on the content I put out, if you're paying close attention, I really do feel convicted, and I feel very confident that if you're paying close attention, I can help to curb your emotion, because emotion, as I always say, is what? It's a money killer, and education is power. Education is power, and emotion is a money killer. So what I communicated today on Twitter is I think paying close attention to the material I'm putting out between now and year end it's to your benefit to do it. If you have found any benefit to the content that I've produced, paying close attention to what I'm sharing with you from now to year end will be critical. I'm not going to hold your hand. Okay, let me be clear about this. I'm not going to hold your hand and tell you where to sell. It's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you with logical content aimed at providing you with logical strategies on how to exit and where I see prices potentially going within a range. It's then I'm giving you all the educational material you should need so that you can take control of your financial decisions and scale out of your investments, sell your investments at logical points that you deem to be that make the most sense for you and on your risk tolerance level and based on your investment strategy. That is what I'm here for. What you need to understand right now is we're getting closer and closer and closer as Bitcoin today has created another new all-time high, smashing through essentially 65,000 and going to 67,000. Mark my words, as I continue to record these podcasts, I'm talking about $66,000 or $65,000 Bitcoin right now. Very shortly, I'm going to be talking about a $70,000 Bitcoin, an $86,000 Bitcoin, and soon $110,000 Bitcoin. The point is that the price between now, over the next 2 to 3 months in Bitcoin and all of crypto, all these altcoins you're invested in, okay? If you're invested in solid projects in particular, which I've attempted to point out, some of which, I'm not on top of every project, but I point out the ones that I'm familiar with and that I personally am invested in and that I believe in, that I believe will do very well. It's very important to understand that during this time, during the time of the next 2 to 3 months, things really are going to get euphoric. And it's fun to talk about and it's fun to think about, but I really want to stress this, to everyone listening, really. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button, leave a comment, share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. It's really important that you understand that we can have fun talking about refreshing your crypto portfolio and looking at the fact that your account, has doubled over a certain time frame or is up 30% or 20% or boy, now you have $100,000 in your account or you have $10,000 in your account. You started with like $3,000. Whatever the case is, it may be fun to look at and exciting, but I can't stress this enough. Unless you sell your asset, it's like a stock. Crypto, same premise as a stock. It's an unrealized gain or loss. Unrealized gains or losses mean on paper, like you open up your portfolio on Coinbase or Binance and you see you're up 30%. Well, it's an unrealized gain because you haven't clicked the sell button. Once you click the sell button and you actually sell your investment, then it becomes a realized gain. You actually realize the gain. I mean, it should be very intuitive. You're actually realizing the gain because now you have dollar bills instead of the asset that you were holding. You've converted from a crypto asset, just like a stock, just like units of stocks. You've converted from a crypto asset into US dollars, fiat. And now you can take that money and, that really is what it is, So it's very important for me to communicate to you that as awesome as it is to look at your portfolio right now, and hopefully you feel this way, that you're doing very well, you have to curb that emotion because you will not realize any of that. None of it. It's just a number. It's a number on your phone. It's a number on your computer until you realize it by selling it. Then it is a realized gain. Until you press the sell button, until you have a limit sell order or a market sell order and you sell your asset, just like a stock, it's the same thing as a stock. Until you sell it, there's no reason to get excited, And that is one of the ways I'm here to help you in this stage of the cycle. This is the time. This is the time where your emotions can cloud your judgment. Stick to your guns, your logical guns, right? Think of any time in your life where, you've been in a situation and It could be anything emotional, anything that involves emotion, right? And hindsight 2020, when you look back and you think about it, you're like, you know what? If I was logical about it, and I saw this and this and this, I would have made a different decision, okay? Well, the same thing that's going on right now with your investments, okay? I don't want you. I can't stress this enough. I'm a nobody from northeastern part of the country, and I love educating you guys, all right? I don't want you to look back months and months from now and have regret, and then you got to wait out another 4-year cycle or 5-year cycle, whatever happens after this point. I'm not focused on that. And you got to wait around for this generational wealth transfer opportunity. Seize the moment today. Seize the moment during this cycle. This cycle is going to cut out over here in the next 2 to 3 months. It's going to be fast and quick. Harmony 1 is going to shoot up from 25 cents, I believe, to $2 to $3. I don't think it's going to stop at $1. Okay, I think $1 is a psychological level. Harmony 1, I definitely see going to $2 to $3. H-bar, it's sitting at 40 cents. The thing's going to shoot up to $3 to $5. Mana, Decentraland, is sitting at 80 cents. That thing is going to shoot up to $10 or more. The point is, when you look at those price multiples and it's more than a 10x, okay, it's more than 10 times the value of what it's sitting at today, okay, and I've provided you with all the logic and reasoning for this. It's nice to think about. It's exciting to think about. You think, oh, I'm going to profit from this. You're only going to profit if you sell. You got to make sure to keep your emotions in check, and you need to make sure you know now, where are you going to sell? Where will you sell your crypto? How are you selling? Now, I've told you need to scale out of your investments. 10% here, 20% here, 30% here. I'm going to let 10% ride. I'm going to let 15% ride. I'm going to let 5% ride. It's different for every person. Every person has a different risk tolerance level. Do not sell your investments based on hopium. Don't sell your investments because someone tells you XRP is going to $100 this cycle. Don't sell your investments because Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin. Sell your crypto investments during this euphoric time at price levels that are logical in nature, based on your own analysis and based on other analyses like myself of other people who you believe in. I'm going to keep hitting home on this. You guys will not profit in this market unless you sell. Now, I know it for myself. Look, I'm communicating the same messages to you. By the way, let me be very transparent with you. The message is, doing this podcast is helpful for me because I'm communicating the same messaging to you I need to tell myself. I grew up very middle class. If you're looking at a middle class, if you actually study what middle class is in America, you know that it actually comprises a very large income level. And I would say that I grew up somewhere on the middle or the lower, a little lower part of middle class, okay? I did not grow up with a lot. My parents worked very hard, and you appreciate it more as an adult, seeing all the things your parents did for you, taking me to all the soccer games and practices and baseball and music and all these things, and they had me so involved with all these things. They got me braces. They spent money they didn't have. And I'm very appreciative of everything my parents did, especially as an adult now, more than ever, okay? But the point is I didn't grow up with a lot, right? We didn't go off vacationing like I've heard with some families. Oh, they went off. We did a family vacation every year, and we went to Europe, and we did this, and we did that. Fuck that. I didn't do any of that, okay? I've only begun really traveling in my 20s and 30s, okay? But the point is even for someone like myself, I have to keep myself grounded because year to date, or I should say crypto cycle to date, I've been very successful. And my crypto portfolio says that. And looking at that USD balance is honestly, even for myself, sometimes a little overwhelming because for me, it's a material amount of money. But what I realize is that we're going a fuck ton higher. And why do I know we're going a fuck ton higher? education. Education is power. I keep telling myself, Crypto Bull God, CBG. That felt weird saying because I almost said my first name. CBG. You've done so much work in this market over the past 4 years. You know where this is going. Like, dude, you know. Like, you've done so much work. You have woken up. For the majority of this cycle, I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning and study this market before work. Study the market after work. Rinse and repeat. I've spent so much motherfucking time in this market educating myself. And so what I have to do is I have to keep myself level-headed and say, look, stick to your guns. You can read the charts. Stick to your scale-out philosophy. Okay, you're not selling everything at a price. You're not going to get emotional when everything starts getting extremely euphoric, and your balance, you look at your USD balance and it's unfathomable how much dinero you have. Like, it's crazy. You can't even, you never would have thought. You knew, when you didn't have it, but now you have it and you can't believe it. So I even need to keep myself grounded and tell myself, look, based on the charts, based on the data science models, this is how I want to scale out. And that's what I need to do. And I'm going to set my sell limits and let the chips fall where they may, right? That is what I need to constantly remind myself. And me sharing, hopefully you're getting the genuine nature in how I'm sharing this with you, okay? I have to remind myself, and I'm reminding everyone who's listening. And let me just say on that note, in terms of where we're going in these next 2 to 3 months, my father reached out to me today, and he texted me. He's not one to call. My father is not, I'll get on the phone with my mom, and I'll be on the phone like over an hour easy with her. I'll be on the phone for a long time. And my father's not one to call. He's it's just not in his personality. I get a lot of my social skills and personality in that way I get from my mom, because I do consider myself a very social person. And my dad just, he just keeps to himself. It's just, he's a lot more introverted. But in any event, he texted me, and it reminded me of something. It was something related to crypto, and I laughed at it and texted him back. And by the way, Dad, if you are listening, I did want to say, I didn't say in the text message, but I'm very proud of what you said to me. I'm glad that you did that. I'm glad that you did that today. So I'm going to find out if you text me back. If you were listening, it put a huge smile on my face to even see what you texted me. But in any event, what it made me think of when he texted me was, I am so freaking glad that I, as not uncomfortable, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but at a time when no one believed in it, I'm so glad that I kept pushing and was adamant for my parents, my family in particular, to get into crypto. Because my parents are fine. They're going to get by just fine in their retirement here. But I, based on the video that is the introduction to this podcast, and based on my conviction of where things are going, I do know that we will be the cream of the crop and we will rise to the top. And I am glad that I was able to help my parents. We're not done yet, but I'm glad I was able to help my parents get invested in this market and turn a small amount of money into what I think will be a very material amount of money. And you got taxes you got to pay on it, but it's still going to be a very material amount of money. I'm glad I got them in. I'm glad I got them to start thinking about alternative investments. I'm glad I got my brother in and his wife. I'm glad I pushed for people to get in. As uncomfortable as it may have been for them or me when prices were suppressed, I've always felt very convicted in terms of where this market has gone. Go back and listen to my material. Go back to the older podcasts. Go back to June and July, okay? People were coming at me real salty when Bitcoin was at 30,000, 29,000. 28,600 was the bottom, I think, or 28.8. Either way, I felt very convicted, right? If you've been following me, you know that was the bottom. And that was a golden buying opportunity. Look now, the price is more than twice that. People coming at me when H-bar was consolidating, it was 18 cents. And I said, be patient, it's consolidating. The saltiness was unreal. And now we're sitting at fucking 40 cents, and we're primed to shoot well past $1. Yeah. Yeah, it takes true conviction and true balls in this market. And the only way that you have true bull balls in this market, not blue balls, for any guys out there, hopefully you don't know what blue balls are, but I'm not saying blue balls. Not blue balls, bull balls. For you to get true bull balls and just have the fucking intestinal fortitude to say, fuck this, I know where shit is going. You have to have education and conviction and dedication to learning all this stuff. And that's one thing I will say about myself. I'm not the most intelligent person in the room, but I work hard as shit to get to where I'm at. And I'm trying to share that information with you, and I hope you appreciate it. Now, one other thing before we get into the chart of the week, and we're going to delve into this more next year, but I want you to keep this in mind because this will further cement in the idea, solidify the idea, why it's important for you to sell at logical points. We're going to enter another massive correction. Do not let the Bitcoin maxis, do not let delusional people who don't know what they're talking about, who can't read a chart, tell you otherwise. We're not entering a super cycle. Bitcoin's not going to $500,000 within the next year. It's not happening. Will Bitcoin at some point get to $500,000 per Bitcoin? Absolutely. I think that's going to happen. Not this cycle. All we can use is past data to make informed decisions about today and tomorrow. And that tells me we're going to top at some point this year, Bitcoin specifically. Some of the alts will bleed into, early next year. And then we're going to go through another massive bear market. Okay? You want to sell your alts. You're not going to time it perfectly, but you want to sell your alts when they're near the top. You don't want to be the person who's emotionally invested and it corrects your alt. Your altcoin corrects 97%. You ride that bitch all the way to the bottom because you keep telling yourself it's going to keep going up and it never does. Don't be that person. Please don't be that person. Okay? I'm just trying to share with you logic and facts. And by the way, the last thing I'll touch on related to that, and it's something that I'll probably I will expand on at some point, is markets move together. Okay? Cryptocurrency is a risk-on asset right now, okay? So as Bitcoin and crypto takes a massive downturn next year and into 2023, I fully expect that it will be positively correlated to the economy, meaning the stock market, the S&P, the Dow Jones will all take a downturn. Quite honestly, as someone who's hoping to buy a condominium or a home next year or maybe 2023, but hopefully next year, I hope there's a downturn. I hope that real estate takes a downturn next year in 2023. By the way, real estate is on my list to learn a lot more about next year and become very well versed in. Maybe I could do a podcast at some point about real estate next year. But I hope the economy takes a downturn next year because people who know what they're doing can capitalize on those opportunities. If I'm looking to buy a home, okay? If I'm looking to buy a home in northern Florida and the homes I'm looking at right now that interest me cost $800,000 and the economy takes a downturn, I believe it's going to take a downturn. I'm very well educated on real estate and I'm patient. And I understand that $800,000 home at some point, maybe I could get it closer into the $600,000 range. Well, Christ, I mean, it would benefit me to be educated and know what I'm doing, right? I'd rather wait to pay $600 versus $800. So we'll have to see how things play out. But the main thing I want to communicate here is I fully anticipate that as crypto takes a correction going into next year and into 2023, I do believe that there will be a positive correlation, meaning the same sort of downturn, not to the same magnitude, but the same sort of downturn will also take place in the economy and in the stock market in particular. So let's get into the chart of the week. The chart of the week is something I actually tweeted about today. The chart of the week is... Again, no sound effects right now. At some point, maybe I can pay someone. Chart of the week is Sushi Mana. It's a custom created chart. So ticker symbol SUSHI. If you can't spell the word sushi, God help you. It's one of my favorite foods. Ticker symbol MANA. M as in Matthew, A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple. Sushi Mana. It's a custom created relativity chart that I created. There is an ascending triangle being created on Sushi Mana. What does this tell us? Well, let's bring everything home. Let's talk about, first off, what's going on Mana, just the Mana USD chart. Mana USD chart is looking beautiful. I expect Mana USD to break out well above $1 here within the next week or so, okay? Well above $1, okay? Sushi, I just tweeted about Sushi. Sushi USD, this setup looks beautiful. I expect this thing to break up towards $15 plus within the coming week or so. So all of the USD values are increasing in price. That's what I'm expecting over the next week or two, right? Well, now the relativity value, if I'm saying to you that the Sushi Mana relativity chart is in an ascending triangle, which is a bullish pattern, follow me on Twitter at CryptoBullGod. And by the way, comment below if you disagree with me on this analysis. Drop a like as well to show support. But if I'm telling you that the Sushi Mana relativity value is going to increase in value, what that's saying is Sushi, I expect, at least in the shorter term, will outperform Mana. So if both USD values, you can't see me right now. You can't see me, but the Italian in me is coming out. My hands are moving up. If the USD values are all going up and the relativity value Sushi Mana is going to go up, what it means is both USD values will appreciate in value, but I expect in the shorter term that Sushi will outperform Mana. It doesn't mean that in the long term I expect it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying based on the pattern that is currently present on the Sushi Mana relativity value, Sushi will outperform Mana, and based on the USD values of both cryptocurrencies separate, Mana and Sushi, I expect both of those projects to appreciate in value. So it's a win-win scenario. Now, I did indicate today I did purchase some Sushi because the setup on the USD and the setup on the Sushi Mana is just way too attractive. So that is my chart of the week. It is Sushi Mana. Check it out. You know, one other thing, as I crunch on my ice cubes, that I wanted to get into before I take Twitter questions, which I kind of touched on. I am going to be visiting the Crypto Bull Goddess up in northern Florida. I leave this weekend. And one of the things I talked about doing with her, you know, I've always been a huge fan of Halloween. I love Halloween. I always loved dressing up as a kid. I love, even now that I'm older, I like handing out candy to kids. And so I asked her, I said, you know, let's make sure when I come visit, let's make sure on Halloween to trick or treat. She sent me some information today. In her neighborhood, they are doing trick or treating on the day of Halloween, which is awesome. We're also going to go see the new Halloween movie, which I'm very excited about. But there's something I didn't fill her in on there that I'm going to she's going to hear for the first time. And all of you will, obviously by nature, hear for the first time. That is, I already have the candy for the trick-or-treater. So how did I get the candy? Because I don't buy candy. I don't know if you've seen me, but I probably don't look like a person that eats a lot of candy. All right? I think my father sent me a huge bag of Halloween candy. And it's actually really good Halloween candy. It's like Baby Ruths, Kit Kats, and Butterfingers, I think. All shit that I ate when I was 12. So one of the things I thought to myself is, does my father know me? I don't eat this stuff. And then the other thing I started thinking is my father must just feel very deprived because he's at that age, him and my mother, where they don't have any grandkids. You know, like I have not produced any offspring. Crypto Bringer, my brother, has not produced any offspring. And I think there's a desperation plea on their part for grandchildren because I don't know why you would send someone my age Halloween candy. I don't understand that. I think there is an outpouring of a need from my father, unbeknownst even to him, to want to send grandchildren Halloween candy, and he ends up sending it to his sons. By the way, he did send some to my brother as well, and I won't tell you my brother's age, but yeah, we're a little older in life, and yeah, getting Halloween candy is just a little bizarre from your parents at this point. So that's what I'm thinking, but I just wanted to let you know, Dad, that I'm going to take the Halloween candy, which is unopened. I did contemplate stealing one Baby Ruth and sticking it in the freezer because I do like that, so I might do that. But that's one piece of candy, not a bag of like 100 pieces. So I'm going to take that bag with me when I travel up north, and we're going to hand that out on Halloween, which should be fun. So just wanted to mention that. Mom and Dad, I love you, but please don't send me any more candy. I just don't eat that stuff. Save the money. Buy yourself some crypto. You knew I would say that. So let's get into Twitter questions. All right. So first question coming in from one of my long-time friends, DT Duncan. And basically the question is centering around H-bar dominance. So Duncan, what I would share with you is, honestly, I don't look at the H-bar dominance, and I don't know where the H-bar dominance is going. This is just my personal opinion, okay? So take it for what it's worth. I don't think it's important that you look at that. Paralysis by analysis. Keep it stupid simple. Focus on the charts I've shared with you. I've shared the H-bar USD chart. I've shared the H-bar Bitcoin relativity chart, the H-bar Matic relativity chart, which to this day still is the number one chart I'm looking at. The one H-bar chart is another relativity value I looked at, as well as the Mana H-bar chart. But what I would really focus on for H-bar is H-bar USD, H-bar BTC, and H-bar Matic. Those are the three charts. Keep it stupid simple. I wouldn't concern yourself with a dominance chart. Next question is a really good one. So what's the most reliable stablecoin in your opinion? Thank you for that question. There's been there have been too many questionable things surrounding Tether. So I'm not saying anything significantly negative will happen with Tether. I just know there's been a lot of smoke. And oftentimes where there's smoke, there's a fire. So I personally would stay away from Tether and stick to USDC. That would be the most reliable stablecoin in my opinion. Next question. End of bull run H-bar price prediction. Sir, I would point you to the Holy Crypto Trinity video. Nothing has changed. There was also an update video I did just for the H-Barbarians, specifically speaking to H-Bar from the Holy Crypto Trinity video. So I can link both in the description. Check it out. But real quick, since you asked the question, I would check out the video. Me giving you a price target is worthless unless if there's an analysis to back it up, right? That should make sense. Don't follow someone that just gives you blanket statements with no backing. But the fundamental main price range I'm looking at, the main price range I'm looking at for H-bar is 3 to 5. Could it run higher than 5? Absolutely, and I spell that out in the video, so check it out. How to decide on a personalized exit plan. This is a good question, Steve. So your personalized exit plan, what I would say is the first thing you should consider, number one, what's your risk tolerance level? That's question number one. Question number two is, how are you deriving price targets to potentially exit at? So you should have price targets, a way of getting to price targets that you're going to exit at. It could be based on a USD chart. It could be based on relativity charts. But you have some idea of reasonable price levels that you expect it to go. So what you do is you use the combination of your risk tolerance level and the realistic price ranges you see prices going, and then you just scale out based on that. That's the answer, in my opinion. Power Trust says, reminder to look at CVX. I actually replied to him, thank you for the reminder. It's just finding time. You have no idea how busy I am right now. So it's just finding time. Work, honestly, is ticking up with how busy I am right now at the worst time. It's just very busy right now. All fun beer virus related items, because again, I'm an actuary and I work in life insurance. If time permits, can you review what XRP price will be relative to Bitcoin? I know you've gone over it before, so I plan to go back and check it out. But if there's any updates to the price relationships, can you share it? I don't really have any updates there. one of the things I said is once XRP got off U.S. exchanges and I couldn't do limit buy sell orders, I became disinterested in charting it. Just because whatever I'm holding, and I'm just, I'm not selling or buying any. And once it gets back on exchanges and I can actually dictate the price levels I want to buy and sell at, we'll get back to charting, believe me. But nothing has changed in terms of the last price targets I communicated, which I believe was 6. I think the bottom level was 6. I think I said 6 to 10. I said anything 6 to 10, like a wick up to 10. I don't see XRP hitting a price level this cycle higher than $10. So anything between 6 to 10. I've seen I've seen $12 out there. I think one price level, obviously I could be incorrect. I think one price level that I see out there is $12, which I think is certainly possible. I do not see $20 to $30 this cycle. My main thesis a couple years ago, if you watch an old video I put out there, very logical in nature, but I saw that $20 to $30 price range as well. But the Black Swan event in December, in my opinion, really fucked up the chart, and I do not see anything higher than 6 to 10 this cycle. Again, not to say it's not going to go higher in future cycles. Everything I'm talking about right now is this cycle, and this cycle I do not see it going higher than $6 to $10. Here's a good question. By the way, for everyone asking questions, I appreciate it. A lot of engagement this week. Thank you. Any updates on whether or not those with XRP on Coinbase Pro will get their Songbird token airdrop? You tell me. I held a significant amount of XRP back in December, and I've been wondering the same thing. So just to give you an update there, I think I tweeted about it, but they have not commented. They have not commented on Songbird. They said they would support the flare drop, but they haven't had any comments since last year. I don't know if they're going to support Songbird. I would certainly hope they will. I'm going to be extremely pissed off if they don't, because so at the time of the airdrop, I did not custody my XRP on my ledger. I did put it on Coinbase for that snapshot. So I'm in the same boat as you, the way it sounds. So I do not know. They have not commented. Somebody here is asking me for thoughts on BC Backers' technical analysis. So I don't know if you guys know this. I've kind of commented on this in the past, and I don't want to get into it, but I don't follow him. Okay, I'm not particularly fond of his content, and I don't want to get into it. I feel very mixed on his content. I don't follow him. I don't know what he's saying. But apparently what this person is saying, I'll just take him for his word, is he has a BTC price range, I guess, for the top, which is significantly less than most everyone else on crypto Twitter. I've communicated my tops for Bitcoin. In fact, I said that during this podcast. I don't pay attention to his content. I don't want to get into it. But I don't really have any comment to say that if his is significantly less than most out there. I don't know what that means if his top is $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, but if that's the case, he's way off in my opinion. Any other questions? Let's see. There are more questions. Wow. Okay, so H-bar Matic versus H-bar 1. Which chart has the most relevance now? Integrity Farms. That was a good episode when that first came out on South Park. Just keep in mind, Randy Integrity Farms at Len Wambo. What you as excuse me, as an H-bar investor, what you want to keep in mind is the number one chart, in my opinion, and I've pointed to why, is the H-bar Matic chart. That's the one I would pay attention to. If you've ever seen me tweet anything about HBAR1, I've misspoken. I'm pretty sure I said 1 HBAR. The relativity is 1 HBAR. So I'm actually using the 1 HBAR relativity chart for one's really more to understand what to do with my 1 position than my HBAR position. I guess, no, that's not entirely true. I guess as the 1 HBAR position became suppressed, I did comment I scaled out some HBAR and stuck it in 1, which definitely has benefited me to gain more HBAR. But in terms of more relevance, I mean, they're both relevant. It just depends what you're using it for. Ultimately, to signal a potential top in HBAR, I will say this, because I think this is what you're driving at. To signal a potential top in HBAR's USD price, I will be using HBAR-matic, not HBAR1. Another question. Assuming we hit targets, then pull back as in previous cycles, when do we look to start buying in again? Do you have a target date on the recent re-entry points? I assume alts will lag BTC. Thanks in advance. Thank you for the question. I'm going to start liking some of these so you know. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's appreciate the fact that we're in the euphoric season right now. Ask me the question after we've topped. After we know we've topped, let's have a conversation. But I think this is too early to have a conversation about this right now. Do you plan on selling mooned alts into lesser grown coins, or do you plan on keeping yours as is? And meaning in the end, do you plan on selling all or keeping them? This is a good question. Thank you, Mark. So I think one of the ways you can really lose out is to shift significant portions of your crypto into other assets, thinking you can outsmart the market. Will I potentially shift small amounts of my crypto from one project into another project that has lagged to potentially get a gain? Yeah, I can see myself doing that. But it's going to be a small amount, right? I already have figured out where logical exit strategies are for myself, and I'm fine. Like, I'm good. I don't want to get greedy. I don't want to get greedy with things, because if I start getting greedy, it's going to fuck up my sell strategy, and I'm going to lose out in the end. You can't outsmart this market. Do not, Mark, do not think you can outsmart this market. If you have a hypothesis that there's been a laggard and you've sold out of some projects you're in, just take a small position. Don't put it all in. Don't put a significant amount in, because you could be wrong, okay? So I would just my opinion, I would just do a small amount for a laggard. And then Mark has one last question. What is your take on Mana? It's been lagging behind HBAR and 1. How do you see it going? Awesome. I'm glad you asked the question, because I tweeted about this all day. See my tweets. It's due for a run. It's going to run. Right now, it's at 81 cents, and I think we're going to hit $1 plus very shortly. So I have zero concerns there. That's all. So one last time, I want to thank everybody everybody for asking the questions that they have. That they had. I love the engagement. I love when people interact with me. Leave a comment below in the video so that I can get back to you and answer any more questions. Like the video to help the content. And in closing, in particular for Mini Shift, because he's going to be losing our bet very, very soon here, please join me in a moment of silence for all of those I attempted on multiple occasions, believe me, more than I can keep track of, to get into crypto and have remained ignorant. Thank you.